Long, long time ago, when the formation of the universe was on its primary stage, we already had knowledge about the existence of the three vital trees for the life of every being on any universe: the tree of life, the tree of magic, and the tree of feelings. They were vital for the existence of the multiverses, and each one was in a different universe, protected by their own guardian. This is the story of DREAMTALE, the universe where the tree of feelings lived, whose fruits were apples, half black and half golden. The black ones hold the negative feelings: hatred, resentment, fear, depression, wrath, etc., while the golden ones hold the positive feelings: happiness, hope, gratitude, enthusiasm, faith, pity, etc. DREAMTALE had the tree of feelings. This one produced negative and positive feelings, which were sent to each universe so that life could naturally keep subsiding. Without the existence of the tree, no being could ever feel anything. Everyone would be like zombies without any kind of emotion inside of them. This is why this tree is so important and why it's sacred. However, there were some people who obtained more negative feelings than what they should have gotten, and they intended to damage the tree in order to obtain the golden apples. Since not only did they have power, but if you had one of them on your side, they would grant you enough confidence to do any kind of job without taking any failing risk, even if the job was bad, like for example, killing someone. One of these bad people was able to severely hurt the guardian of the tree, whose life was connected to the tree itself, meaning that if she died, the tree would die with her. The guardian killed the aggressor, and she was starting to feel repulsion towards the mortal being. Her only choice, so that they wouldn't die, was to fuse with the tree, and then she would save the life of it. But if she did that, the tree wouldn't have any guardian. Its fruits could be stolen with easiness. Scared because of all the blood that she was losing, she decided to use the magic of the tree to bring all of the positive and negative energies that she could, creating with these life. Two light beings made of pure positive and negative energy. The little gold being was known as Dream, since he was a dreamer, and his brother, the dark purple being, was called Nightmare, only because he was the complete opposite of Dream. The guardian gave them two human bodies so that they could take them. Empty bodies. But the energies were so big, and since there were just a few escape routes, the bodies started to swell more and more until they exploded. It was very disgusting. The Guardian had to think fast. She had to fuse as soon as possible, so she explored her mind other universes to find some vessel that she could copy, and that it was suitable for those Guardians. She found a small skeleton in a universe called Underswap. His name was Sans. She hurried and copied the form of that skeleton into two empty replicas in front of the light energies, who took the bodies quickly, filling them with life. This time, the energy had many escape routes due to the numerous holes that a skeleton could have, so it was under control. The Guardian, now mother of the new Guardians, fused with the tree. The small skeletons didn't have anybody, so they passed the days talking to each other. They were brothers. They were always together. Even to cover the dry blood stain that the tree still had, they decided to create a yellow flag with a sun, Nightmare's idea, and tie it to the tree. Everything was happiness for them. After all, nobody approached the tree. But DREAMTALE started to get filled with more and more life. They created towns around the tree, and everything changed for the worse. The tiny skeletons finally were alone. They sometimes heard the voice of their mother echoing as if she was still with them. They had each other, and slowly everything started to get filled with more and more people. A huge town was being built near the tree. Due to the new condition of the world to the other beings, everything was too rustic, without technology and no kind of entertainment besides land work. The kids were enjoying bug catching, and they helped the adults. Humans and monsters cooperated, but not everything was pink. In every society, there's always people who are willing to hurt others. Nightmare was always different. He was the most serious one. He didn't like playing and running like Dream. He preferred to read books, the ones who the elders brought for his brother. He read them really fast. He loved reading. That would let him escape from all the negative feelings, because since he was completely negative energy, a lot of loneliness, sadness, and such kind of feelings were invading him. But the people didn't like what was different. They started to talk and whisper behind his back. He is weird. His name means something bad. He protects the bad side of the tree. He is evil for sure. They distracted Dream, taking him to another place far away to play, while others took advantage of that to throw things to Nightmare, rocks, books, anything, and tell him that he was weird and that nobody liked him. Of course, there were people against that, but they didn't do anything to avoid it. They turned their heads to the other side. Dream never knew about this. He tried to talk with his brother because of the bruises that he saw, but Nightmare lied to him. "I'm okay. I just tripped. It was nothing." Nightmare's intention wasn't to trick Dream, it was to protect him. He didn't want that his brother went to complain with the others and that they took revenge against him. He couldn't allow his brother to feel the same pain that he was feeling. One of the most peaceful days in Nightmare's life was a day with a big storm. Everyone sheltered from the rain. Dream was very afraid of lightning. While everyone had refuge, the twins sheltered under the tree, getting wet because of the rain. It sounds weird that 2 skeletons can feel cold, but they weren't skeletons after all. Only the surface shell was making them look like that. That night was the coldest one they could ever remember. They were trembling in the cold, and both of them were soaking wet. Nightmare, who took the big brother role, even though they were both born at the same time, stood up and took the flag that they put around the tree to give it to his brother, protecting him from the rain and telling him, "Don't be afraid of the lightning. This cape will protect you from everything." Dream held on to the flag, and the words of his brother were like a magical spell that gave him strength and took away his fear. Ever since then, he always used that magical flag as a cape to remember the magical words of his brother. But the indiscriminated hate towards the guardian of negative feelings was growing from day to day. However, bit by bit, Nightmare started to change. He was afraid. He started to think that everyone was bad, that everyone wanted to hurt him. The people that felt sorry for him started to change their opinion and join the haters. The guardian of negative feelings started to distance himself from everyone, even from his own brother. He cornered himself in a spot between the roots of the tree to feel fear every day, not being able to see any further from his own depression. The words of Dream didn't work. Nothing could make Nightmare happy. He distanced everyone from himself, and he was sobbing every day. Dream wasn't playing with anybody. He only wanted to stay close to his brother for the moment when he started to smile again. But the damage was so huge that it never happened again. Finally tired with fear and unsteadiness, Nightmare decided to show everyone that he wasn't bad, that he could be good, and that he could protect the golden fruits just like his little brother. And with this, he would demonstrate that he wasn't bad, right? Everything went wrong. The negative energies weren't supposed to touch the golden apples. The apples were contaminated, and the tree started to rot, while the fruits were all turning black, like in the negative apples. Everything was wasted, only because he felt fear and oppression in his tiny soul. If only he had a friend. If only he had told Dream what was going on. All the pain that follows up would have been avoided. The sky grew darker, the birds stopped from chirping, the green leaves of the tree shivered and fell, while its log was turning dry with no life. The black apples were the only thing that stood out in that rotten tree. The tree that was so full of life was dying, due to all the negative energy that was flowing through it and consuming the tree. All that universe started to slowly lose any signs of positive feelings. Nightmare was really scared. He didn't want this to happen. He only wanted to show that he could take care of the golden apples just like Dream. He didn't know what to do. He wanted to do something to fix the tree, but his mind was blank. In a complete panic attack, he hurted his mother and what he was supposed to protect. Nightmare felt like a little kid who did something bad by accident and wanted to fix it, but didn't know how to do it. Dream, who left for a bit to help some people in trouble while looking how the sky grew dark, felt like something really bad was going on. When he reached the tree and saw what happened, he felt almost shattered inside of him. At least not everything was lost. He took earlier a golden apple with him to help the ones in need, terminally ill. Maybe he could do something to heal the tree. His positive feelings wouldn't let him lose hope. However, unlike Dream, the people started to get overflowed in negative feelings that the apples were giving to them. They felt like the tree was never coming back. That Nightmare destroyed their tree that was supposed to be giving them good feelings, and that now they could only live sad and negatively because of the big brother's fault. They started to group with the intention to go against the guardian of negative feelings. They intended to hurt him, kill him if it was possible. Dream got scared. He couldn't let them hurt his dear brother. He tried to stop the people, but there were hundreds, and he was only one. The people escaped and went with Nightmare. They didn't want to listen to the little brother. They pushed Dream, and they walked above him, without caring about trampling the guardian that was once their friend. The little brother ended up being trampled by the masses that were going against Nightmare. He had to accept his death. The negative guardian knew that his life had come to an end, and he was really scared. Was he born only to suffer, to end like this? Get stronger. He heard a voice that came from not the tree, but from the black apples. It was the voice of a man, very different to his mother's. Who was this guy? The voice said again. If you don't do something, you will die. Use the apples. Be stronger than them. Nightmare knew that using the black apples was wrong, that they were too powerful even for a guardian of pure negativity like him, but the fear of dying because of all that people that was coming closer to him was stronger. He bit the first apple. After the first one came the second. The third. The people started to halt once they saw that Nightmare was changing. Black lumps were coming out from his eyes, mouth, nose, and parts of his clothes. Some people that approached to hurt him started to feel disgust, some others pity. The image was frightening. As Nightmare was eating more and more apples, his skull started to crack, since it couldn't contain all that concentrated dark and negative energy. Nightmare's feelings started to change. He couldn't stop eating those apples, and his fear started to transform into hatred, an infinite hate towards everyone and everything. A terrible pain traveled through his body when he finished eating the last apple. He grew addicted to that big power that was consuming his being. Finally, the negative energy was so big that not even the body of a skeleton could control it. 4 tentacles of pure darkness suddenly grew from the back of the guy, breaking along some ribs and causing him a horrible pain. The screams of anguish from Nightmare made a lot of people step back while he was falling to the ground and starting to puke the same black substance that was coming out from every fissure, eyes, mouth, nose, ribs, and more. Dream opened his eyes, still laying on the ground. He was fearing that the people might have hurted his brother. He would do anything to protect him, but what Dream saw was not his brother anymore. It was a being with so much evilness concentrated that it was disgusting. Please don't forget who I used to be. Those words got stuck on Dream's mind with fire. That was the last thing that he was able to hear from his brother with his natural voice. What the guardian of positive feelings was seeing was a black creature that had the shape of his brother, who emanated a negative aura so big that anybody who got close would feel pain and panic. What was that thing supposed to be? Where was Nightmare? Where was his brother? Why wouldn't the tears stop? The people moved away from the creature. That thing smelled bad, and it was really scary. A lot of people started to regret what they have done. 1 minute ago, there was a scared and nice being, where now that non-friendly thing is standing. But where did the tiny guardian go? Inside of the mind of that thing, there was an encounter. Nightmare was crying while the vicious person was hugging him. It was himself, telling him that he would protect him from everything. Nightmare accepted. He accepted to get rid of all that pain and to let his negative part flourish. The silence that invaded Dreamtale was hysterical for a couple of seconds until the sound of something cutted the air at great speed, blinding the bodies of the people who were nearby. Those tentacles that the new Nightmare had on his body acted like big powerful blades at incredible speed, leaving only a trail of pain and death. The people ran desperately. "Help! It's the devil!" screamed lots of them and fled frantically, stumbling against each other. A cry was heard behind him. The creature turned around his face. He smiled happily.
"Why are you crying?"
he asked his little brother.
"They got what they deserved."
"No, they might have acted wrongly, but they didn't deserve to die," screamed the little scared guardian. The new Nightmare started to laugh madly. His laugh was detestable, and his voice was different from the one that he had when he wasn't covered by that black thing. Dream came to the conclusion that all the negativity concentrated in the black apples corrupted his brother. He went to a point with no return.
Lies, everyone deserves pain. Everyone is dumb. They said that I was bad, so I'll be it. They regret. Everyone will regret.
He kept laughing. He didn't seem to be talking to anybody specifically. He seemed as if he was crazy. Dream looked around. The ones who were damaged by Nightmare were now dead. He left a lot of families broken, orphaned children. Where was his beautiful world full of happy things? Where were the kids who would be playing? And the girls picking up flowers? Why was everything gone? Please, brother, tell me that you're still in there, sobbed the little one, getting closer to the black mass who was once his most dear person. He had a golden apple with him that he used to help the morbid elder before. Maybe the apple was going to be the solution. Maybe with his light, Nightmare would go back to normal. Why did you do that? Just come back. It doesn't matter. I forgive you. The broken voice of Dream got the attention of the corrupted being, who smilingly threw an attack against his own brother. Dream was on the floor being strangled. He felt pain. He was going to break the skeleton that was keeping him alive. Maybe he had escaped from him before he died, but the negativity of Nightmare was keeping him from getting out of that shell. If he got out even for just a few seconds from his skeletal body, the aura of Nightmare would corrupt him and make him disappear. "It hurts," he complained. Kicking the floor in an attempt to break free, Nightmare extended his hand and offered him to trade his life for the last apple. Dream knew what would happen if Nightmare got the last apple. It would be the end of all of the positive feelings. There would be no meaning for him in being a guardian. Nobody ever again would be able to feel happiness in all of the universes. Nightmare was strongly strangling the younger skeleton. The pain could barely let him think. However, in a desperate attempt to protect the last remaining piece of positive feelings, the little one bit the apple. All the universes were counting on Dream. While the people in other universes were normally living their lives, they didn't know that in some place of the multiverse there was a tiny fight that would determine if their lives would be filled with pain, sadness, fear, and negativity, or if they would keep living normally. The gold power of the apple started to invade Dream's body. The true form of the little one accepted that power, joining together with his body as if it was a soul. The gold aura took the negativity of the big river away from the body of the purest one. Having a soul now was a huge advantage, but also a disadvantage. He now had a huge power that he didn't have before. He could feel the positive emotions of everyone. He heard voices coming from nearby and from other universes. It was very confusing for him, but that also meant that now he had a soul. He could die without the need of having his body being invaded by Nightmare's negativity. He was now immortal, but with a huge power. The apple was safe inside of him. The most prudent thing would have been if Dream ran away to protect the apple, and so the positive feelings of all universes. But he didn't do it. The voices of pain that he heard near him were hurting his new soul. He couldn't simply ignore the screams of anguish that the souls that were still living were making to save themselves from the now evil brother. Dream invoked with his new power a weapon that could stop Nightmare. But since on the inside he didn't really want to hurt his brother, his weapon was more defensive and not so dangerous. The power created a light staff from the big apple. Nightmare saw everything that happened with complete repulsion. The new aura from Dream's power made all of the negativity surrounding him to be altered, so those tentacles were removed with discomfort. The two brothers were willing to confront each other for the feelings of all the universes, one to just bring misfortune, and the other one to keep the balance of feelings. Unfortunately, there was a complete disadvantage between both forces. Nightmare's aura was at least 20 times bigger than his little brother's, and it was clear who was going to be victorious in that fight, not to mention that the little one wasn't completely convinced that violence would solve anything. The people stepped back and tried to hide in the houses that were distant from the tree, hoping that the fight would end, praying so that the winner would be the tiny guardian. But Dream's new powers were confusing him. He was feeling so many negative and positive feelings surrounding him that it was making him feel dizzy. Then he heard a cry of help from one of the people. The darkness that Nightmare spreaded through the ground began to attack all the people by its own. The moment that Dream got it distracted, the older one took advantage to attack him from his back. He wished that he hasn't been distracted. When Dream noticed the wave of bad feelings behind him, it was too late. Nightmare's attack was precise. Little Guardian fell to the ground, being turned into a stone statue. Nightmare's attack wasn't lethal, not because he didn't want to hurt his brother, but simply because he didn't want to damage the gold apple. He had to take it out of Dream's body before killing him, but now that he had turned him to stone, he didn't know how to take the golden apple. He simply had to wait. The tree without apples didn't make any more sense for the now evil guardian who, without thinking about it too much, cut it in half, and not minding the fact that by doing this, he killed the tree and the mother that brought him to life. Nightmare condemned DREAMTALE, and the only tiny bit of the good feelings from the multiverse was inside a stone statue with the form of the little Dream.